We're live, everyone, and this is where you get to have your say. So do hit the link that's in the description. I believe it's come up in the comments too. You can join us. It's via the AFTV Plus app, and you can have your say on everything that's going on. Because what started as a quiet window is starting to pick up. Whether we like all the rumours or not, that's what we're here to debate. That's what you're here to debate. So come give us a call and let us know what you think. I'm here with football's 12th man himself. It's Dan Potts. How are you, Dan? It's been a while since we've chatted Arsenal, but I've got to be honest, I've had a really nice June, just not stressing about this football club. And now I'm starting to miss it. And I'm starting to think, right, what are we doing? It's the 2nd of July. And I'm starting to get, I don't know if excited is the word, but I'm ready for football to start making its return. How are you, mate? And how's everything going?
Well, I'd say I've had a break from it, mate. But you know, as I do, that you don't always get a break from football when this becomes your kind of every day, which is a good thing. I'm blessed by it, but I kind of feel like I need a break from it. The transfer window is probably one of the most stressful parts of the season, James. I can't lie to you. And I'm happy that football is finished because I think we all needed a break. But if I'm honest with you, bro, it's not been a stress-free few weeks because Liverpool and City are moving. And a lot of people are asking what's happening with our club. So hopefully we can start to talk about some of the news that's going to be breaking in a few days because I'm expecting Arsenal to start their business now. But big up for having me. Great to see you again, man. It's been too long. And big up to everyone that's watching, man.
It's good to have you here, mate. And we'll be taking callers and getting everyone else's thoughts. When I've done it over the last few weeks, the difference in opinions is staggering. Everyone comes on, is incredibly respectful, makes their points well. And you know what? I can see everyone's side. I mean, there's a lot of the fan base that feel like it's still very early. We've got to wait. They're trying to do big things. That takes time. There's the other side that are going, hold on. Liverpool and City are doing business. Why were we not in certain conversations? Or why is it taking us so long? I'll say this, Dan. This week is the first time I've actually started to feel quite optimistic about the window. Now, I know there's a lot of work to do. I know there is. But when I saw David Ornstein say, Eze's a serious candidate, he's not the winger or the striker. They see him as an 8 or 10. I went, there's hope. There's hope. Because I honestly thought Arteta and Arsenal were just never going to address that position, never going to go pick up a player like Eze, who's more of a let me play, let me express myself player. And I know it's just a link, and I know that we've got to go get the deal done. But I'm just encouraged that at least we're being involved in those conversations. What did you make of the Eze links coming out?
So the Eze links are very exciting for me because I do believe he's an exceptional talent. I think he's Premier League proven, 27 in his prime, can play in a number of positions. He's turned up in big occasions, obviously the FA Cup final, semi-final. But it's not just Eze for me, right, James? What is exciting for me is Andrea Berta. Because we know what the ownership's about. We know Josh Kroenke and Stan Kroenke. It's the same manager. It's the same board. It's the same people behind the scenes. But he's the difference for me. Now, I have a little bit of reassurance and a little bit of something to cling on to and hold on to at least, that this window might be because I'm so impressed with his CV. If we had Edu and Hus Fahmy and Raul Sanlehi and previous people, I'd probably be looking at you, James, thinking, I'm not thinking that we're going to do too much. Now, as much as I'm frustrated and annoyed that we haven't really done anything already, and I think I've been quite vocal on previous platforms about that, I do still have some faith, and there's something in the back of my mind telling me, no, this guy's not been brought in to give you a Sesko and nobody else. Like, this guy has been brought in to do something, right? So I'm in that position now where I feel like there could be something that I don't know what happened there to my computer, sorry. I don't know. I'm in the position now where I feel a little bit of reassurance and a bit of confidence that actually we might end this window better than we started it, although let's be real, it's probably not that hard because there hasn't been much happening of late.
Yeah, I totally agree. I remember making that point on Forever Arsenal when Turkish Jordan and Lee were feeling frustrated, and I totally understood why. But I was saying, look, guys, a lot of people were really happy about Berta. Let's give it more than a month before we sort of freak out about the job he's doing. But you're right, he's come in to do something. He's come in to... There's a reason we appointed him.
I've been in that kind of in the kind of position of Jordan, Turkish, and Lee. I'm with them. I'm absolutely with them. I'm frustrated. I've been ranting on scream about what the hell are we doing? Why aren't we doing anything here? Where's the striker? Where's this, that, and the third? But I think that the point of Eze and the point of trying to do business now, 1st of July onwards, we're told PSR now no longer matters. Let's go crazy. I'm expecting us to go crazy in a bit of a madness now. Like if you're to say to me, Eze's coming in now, let's all calm down because it's all done. You're in cuckoo land. Like Eze's not winning us the league on his own. Like we need more than that. And I think it's great what you've made a point about David Ornstein coming in and saying, Eze is just the start. We are going for a winger. We would like Rodrigo. We are going for the striker, Gyokeres, Sesko. I think that on top of the 3-4 positions that we look like we're strengthening in terms of Kepa, Zubimendi, Norgard, and potentially Mosquera, on top of that, I don't think if we end the window of Eze, Rodrigo, and Gyokeres, I will be giving it an 8 out of 10 window. Like previously, we were giving 8 out of 10s with Sterling coming in. I mean, crikey. Those people are going to be giving it an 11 or 12 out of 10 window then. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's what I want to be ending it with.
Be.
I'm sure you would be, bro.
No, look, I see it as some things didn't quite make sense to me till this Eze link. Like, why would you replace Partey and Jorginho, 2 players who are elite on the ball, with Zubimendi and Norgard, whose numbers stand out defensively? Now, Zubimendi's clearly very good on the ball, and Norgard's better than people think, but that's kind of where statistically they stack up some really good numbers. And why would you not give Partey that contract? And when you're spending 10 million on Norgard, and then I start realizing if Eze is the 8 or 10 they want to add, and they want to play him with Ødegaard a little bit, then I get why you want a little bit more steel behind that. Whether it's Rice dropping in, sometimes you play a double pivot with Rice and a Zubimendi or whatever, suddenly starts to make a little bit more sense. And then I start thinking, why would Arsenal wait till August or whenever it's going to be to get a Rodrigo when that left wing is really important? And then I think, because Eze might be able to cover that till Rodrigo comes in. And look, this is all just, it's all just hypothetical, right? I'm probably giving Arsenal a bit too much credit, but it just starts to make a bit more sense. When I look at what we've been hearing, the Eze stuff starts to go, oh, okay, I get that a little bit more. I get why that buys Arsenal time for Rodrigo, and I get why it suits maybe the plethora of 6s we now have in the squad.
Yeah, look, Eze for me, the reason that would be exciting is because I think it's a player that the majority of the Arsenal fans will say yes to. Now, it might be wrong. You might get some that say, I'd prefer to go and get X, Y, Z. I don't think anybody can say that it's a bad signing. Like, what the hell are we doing there? It's a Willian or Sterling signing. Do you know what I mean? This is what we're used to. So when I look at Eze, I think it's quite exciting. You're absolutely bang on to say that it needs to be other business as well as him. I'm going to talk about the midfield very quickly. I'm actually quite disappointed, James, if I'm honest. And I'll tell you why. I thought Thomas Partey was our best midfielder last season. I actually thought he's better than Rice consistently across the season.
Across the whole campaign, I agree,
Yeah, I thought particularly in the league, I know Declan Rice turned it on in the Champions League semi-finals and quarterfinals and what have you, but I look at the scenario of Thomas Partey consistently across the Premier League and I thought he was exceptional. Now, I'm absolutely fine if you're going to replace him, just like I was fine if you're going to replace Granit Xhaka, but at least upgrade on him. And I don't think we've done that. And we've been waiting for an upgrade on Granit Xhaka for God knows how long now. We've still not got one. I think we might be doing the same thing with Thomas Partey. I might be wrong. Zubimendi might come in and we go, wow, levels. I just don't know that I've seen enough to prove that he is going to be an absolute exceptional talent and one that we've looked back and go, what the hell? Who was Thomas Partey? Wow, thank God he's gone. Zubimendi's different level. And I'm not sure that he's going to be that. And with Norgard, people say to me, this is an exciting, great bit of business. Look, Jorginho and Partey were better than Zubimendi and Norgard. Let's just say it how it is. Jorginho was an experienced head that's going to come in and do his job. He did brilliant rotation. He came in last season and the season before against Manchester City and Liverpool and picked up Man of the Match awards. As much as people gave him sticks, he didn't have legs. Actually, he was quite good for cover. Thomas Partey was an exceptional talent and by far one of the best midfielders at the club. And I look at Norgard coming in, and I'm not saying he's a bad player, but I haven't watched one Brentford game and gone, I tell you what, Thomas Partey's good, but this Norgard, let's get him in. And I've just not done that. So, look, I think that he might come in and do quite well for cover. And I think Zubimendi now, there's more pressure of him to come in and be exceptional as opposed to give him a season to settle in. He hasn't got a season to settle in. He's got to be electric when he comes in. And that's a lot of pressure, bro. Yeah,
there is a lot of pressure. And I think... I've asked myself that question. Are the 2 midfielders we've got at 6 better than the 2 we had last season? I'm not going to say that I definitely don't think they are. I don't know. I genuinely don't know because there are people who tell me, guys, you're going to watch Zubimendi and you're going to be blown away. And I'll go, fair enough. There's a reason all these clubs wanted him. But then there's the other part of me that goes, but I know what I saw from Thomas Partey in 22-23 and in 24-25, and actually in the run-in of 23-24. So, yeah, let's see. But this is what the callers are going to be here to discuss. And we'll chat Eze first before we go on to other stuff like Madueke. Rogers has been linked, and Mosquera as well. That seems to be moving along. He's rejected a contract from Valencia, according to Fabrizio Romano. So let's get our first caller in to join Dan and I. Who have we got? Hey, Mr. Shakespeare himself. How are you, Michael from Boston? Are you well?
Good. Great. So, Dan, I don't really understand your point about how we haven't replaced Xhaka. I think that bringing in Zubimendi and Norgard signifies that Declan Rice is not going to be our 6. He's going to be our 8. And I have no problem seeing Declan Rice as an adequate substitute for Xhaka.
Yeah, look, I think it's a good point, and it's actually a really good question and a good debate about where Rice's best position is. I still think a lot of his attributes are really good in the 6. He's obviously not going to play there now because he brought in Zubimendi. I loved him as a box-to-box midfielder. I think in the advanced roles, I still have question marks. Now, I'm not saying he can't play there, but I don't see him as a Gerrard, Lampard, Fabregas. I see him as more of a Patrick Vieira. And as long as we're playing with Zubimendi and Declan Rice as a Gilberto Silva and Vieira, I think we'll be okay. If we're asking Declan Rice to be the Lampard or Gerrard, I've got problems with that. So I think the balance of our midfield, we've still spent quite a lot of money. In fact, 414 million to be exact of money have gone into midfield, where 80 of it has gone into our attack. I have problems with that because the balance of midfield we're still trying to get right. And as much as I love Rice in the attacking positions, I'm not so sure that I see him as our attacking midfielder in the left 8. That's just my opinion. Some people disagree. They think he's one of the best left 8 they've seen. It ain't for me. I think there's been glimpses of him where he's been brilliant, like against Real Madrid and Manchester United away. I thought he was exceptional. I thought he's really good at PSV when we put 7 past them. There's been games where I've been questioning whether he's actually in that position for the right reason. So I think for his actual late runs in the box and being the Lampard Gerrard, not for me. But I do think that he can be a box-to-box midfielder because we've seen the engine he's got and the athleticism that he does have in the team.
And James, we talked about this last week, that I'm actually kind of glad that they're picking a squad where Arteta really hasn't made up what his starting 11 is going to be. You know, that he can adjust that match to match, but he can also wait to figure out like who actually works in the 8, you know, and giving Arteta that flexibility frees us from having to play the same 11 every single match. I just wanted to say how much. Go ahead.
No. Sorry, you go.
No, I mean, how much I love hearing about Eze coming to us. If there's anything to that, it's great news. I mean, I measure players based on how frightened I was of them when they played against us. And I know that when we played Palace, you know, back in the day, it was Zaha I was worried about. When we played them last year, I figured the goals were going to come from Eze, and sure enough, they did.
I'm so glad you mentioned this point. Actually, I'd love to know what Dan thinks about it too. I think everyone always talks about adding goals through a 30-goal-a-season striker. Sure, that helps improve us. But I also think you add goals by adding match-winning quality around the pitch. Players that can do something and nothing. Eze can do that. I think you add goals by being unpredictable, guys. Because suddenly teams aren't doubling up on Saka because Arsenal aren't always playing down the right-hand side because there's someone on the left to worry about too. Suddenly Ødegaard gets more freedom and can play more of the killer passes he can play because now teams aren't just flooding that area and that pocket where he gets to. They're worried about Eze in the other pocket. And I just want Arsenal to get to a point where by congesting one area of the pitch, you're making both a bit more effective and a bit more impactful. And what Man City at their best, I didn't know if they were going to go Rodri, Bernardo, De Bruyne, or if they're going to go Rodri, Gundogan, Foden, or if they're going to play Foden in the false 9, or if it was going to be Haaland or Foden out on the right. Now it's Savinho and Doku, but they could also play. I mean, they've got a plethora of players. It's just they're constantly throwing problems. Now they've added Ryan Cherki to replace De Bruyne, and I couldn't tell you what their first 11 looks like next season because they've still got Nico and Reinders are all there in case Rodri can't play, and Kovacic. It's just, I'm not saying that's an exceptional wealth of talent they've got, but Arsenal needed more unpredictability, and I think Eze gives you that from the left. From the left, he can cover for Ødegaard. You can still play Eze in the 10 with Rice and Zubimendi behind. So I wanted Arsenal not just to add quality, but to add genuine problems. I think teams prepare for Arsenal on the weekend going, well, I'm 98% sure they're going to do this. And I'd love them to go, well, we're going to have to plan for 3-4 different things because we don't know what they're going to throw at us. And I honestly think all that contributes to more goals and more wins. Maybe I'm putting too much stock in that, but I really believe it helps.
Yeah, I mean, one other point I'd make about both Eze and Norgard is that we can't completely judge a player who's playing for, a lower mid-table team. That, particularly with Eze, I mean, if he's able to do what he's able to do surrounded by Crystal Palace, imagine what he's going to be able to do for us. And the same with Norgard. I mean, Norgard, seems like an average signing, but I bet that Arteta and Berta see something in him where he's going to be better than he was for Brentford because he's playing for us.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, we can. Yeah, we hope so. We're going to get some more callers, but do you have some? Are you rounding us off with some Shakespeare as you always do?
Well, what's mine is yours, and yours is mine. So bring us to the palace, where we'll show what you know not until you all should know.
He got a Palace reference in there. Well done, mate. Pleasure. As always. Dan, before we go on to the next caller really quickly, what do you make of that, the unpredictability thing that we were talking about there? I mean, Arsenal, if I ask you right now, what's Arteta's favourite 11, you can list it in 10 seconds. That shouldn't be normal. That shouldn't be the case.
No, absolutely. Absolutely not. And I think just quickly before we get the next caller in, one thing I've always been critical of Mikel Arteta for, one of many things to be fair, but one thing in particular is his lack of trust in his squad. Because I haven't seen enough trust in Reece Nelson, in Fabio Vieira, in Sterling, in Willian. And people will say, well, of course not. They were rubbish. Well, they were his signings. So what did he sign them for if they were rubbish? Like, you've got to have trust in your squad. And to be fair, even the players that I didn't think were particularly rubbish, like Emil Smith-Rowe and this season, Ethan Nwaneri, I believe there could have been more game time for them. And that's something I need to see this season. And if Eze's coming in, I truly believe and I hope that he's going to not just be an guaranteed starter, and he's going to actually be allowing some competition for Saka, Odegaard, and of course Martinelli. So that for me is always a good thing, James.
Yeah, agreed. Right, let's get the next caller in. Hey man, how you doing? What's your name?
Cameron. Hey James. Hey Dan. Nice to see you guys.
Hey Cameron.
Cameron, lovely to meet you, man. Welcome to the show. Let's talk more about Eze. How excited as we've lost him. Oh, he's back.
Oh, no, sorry.
Sorry about that. You're all good, mate. Let's talk Eze. I agree with Dan. I don't think Eze alone wins you the title, but it's a good step forward. I mean, I think he can make a real difference.
He can. I think Eze also, he takes a lot of weight off the shoulders of the guys on the field, but then with what Berta and Mikel got to do in the transfers too, because he can cover left wing 10, left 8. He can do so many things. I actually had sent you a super chat on one of your Gooniverse streams. He gives that athleticism and that ball carrying that we don't have in the midfield right now. I think even going back to that last caller, I agree. I don't think we've replaced Xhaka. I love the way MLS and Rice carry the ball, but their progressive passing, they drive to the box and then we kind of stop and you pass it off to Martinelli and then he's standing still, and that's not when he's at his best. You know what I mean? I think Eze can just give that dynamism that we're missing right now.
Do you think as well, James, like Eze's signing for me, like in terms of trying to break down low blocks, I think Eze is the perfect signing for that. I really do. And I think that's something that Mikel Arteta has got to work on. And I think Eze will be key for that because there's a lot that he brings to the game, not just in terms of his creativity, but in terms of his drive on the ball, his unpredictability. I think there's going to be a lot that he can bring to the game to allow that. So I just wanted to bring that in there.
Yeah. I think when you were having a great debate with Michael about whether we replace Xhaka, and he rightly made the point, well, we've got Rice who's playing in that position on the team sheet, but Rice receives the ball and drives and often rolls it wide or maybe can drive into the box. But Xhaka, one thing I'll give him immense credit for, I never thought he had this. He positioned himself brilliantly on the last line all the time. He made runs from through balls and he'd receive in the pocket, draw in a fullback and a centre-back, which made space for Martinelli. Xhaka's positioning, and I know sometimes we laugh about positioning and, you know, what you do off the ball. It's kind of seen as like a tactico thing that people kind of overdo. But Xhaka was brilliant at it. And I honestly think it unlocked so much on that left-hand side. It made Zinchenko look a really elite passer because he just get in those little spaces where Zinni would find him. If Eze can give us anything like that, and I think Arteta tried to do it with Smith Rowe, but it didn't happen for him. I think if Eze can get in those pockets, receive the ball there, he is going to hurt teams, man. That's exactly where he's really dangerous. And I'd love to see Arsenal do something like that. What do you guys think of that?
Oh, absolutely. I agree. You know, I hope it's a deal that the club could pull off. I would be absolutely devastated if we wasted money on Madueke and it prevented us from getting an Eze, or even if we got both of them, but Martinelli or Trossard had to leave because of Nani, I would be livid.
Yeah, I'm not feeling that. Sorry, what was your name again, mate?
Cameron,
mate, just quickly, just to round off, we'll get the next caller in. If we sign Gyokeres, Rodrigo, Eze, Zubimendi as starters coming into the 11, what would you rate that window out of 10?
That's 11 out of 10.
There we go. You got your 11, Dan.
Hey, one thing? Can I ask you, if we got an Eze and just say we brought in a white right winger, what do you think that does for Nwaneri? Do you think that sends him on loan? Does he still have a spot this coming season if we brought in a white right winger?
Let's put it this way. I would be concerned about his minutes if we signed Eze and Madueke, and that was our 10 and winger signing. I'd start to think, well, left 8 when Eri played there in pre-season last year, and then as cover for Ødegaard and Saka, well, you've got Eze and Madueke. I just wouldn't. I'd be concerned. But mate, a big thank you for calling in. I really appreciate it, and thank you for your thoughts.
Hey, brothers, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
No worries, mate. No worries. Just Dan, quickly. Madueke, I'm not going to ask you whether you're happy about the link because I can imagine, but I want to know, why do you think the Athletic are saying we're looking at Eze, Rodgers, or Madueke as a third attacker? Like, they're not the same. Rodgers and Eze are, maybe, more so, but Madueke's not. So what's that? But then I saw Ben Jacobs say that Madueke's got nothing to do with the Eze stuff. But then does that mean he's also got nothing to do with the Rodrigo stuff? Are we trying to get 3 attackers and a 10? Like, that would just... that wouldn't be... I'd actually think that'd be excessive. At that point, I'm going, you don't need to do that. We've got Nwaneri. So, I mean, I'm calling for signings, but, you know, there's also a point at which I go, I'm not quite sure about this. Well, what do you think? What do you think's going on?
We're not signing a front 4, James. No way. I'm even debating whether we're going to get all 3 in terms of a left winger, a midfielder, and a striker. So to say we'd get a right winger as well on top of that, wow. I mean, unless Andrea Berta really is sort of having his Weetabix every day, I'm surprised if we do that. Look, Madueke for me would be a horrendously bad signing. Like, let's just be real about it. He's not a horrific footballer. Some people make him out to be this absolute disaster of a player. He's not, right? But he is not going to take us to the next level. I would rather play Ethan Nwaneri. He got more goals in less minutes than Madueke last season. He's developing. He's going to have another season. He needs to get some form of minutes across all 4 competitions. So let's play Ethan in that role. Let's bring Eze in to give competition to Ødegaard. And let's go all out for Rodrigo and, you know, keep one of Martinelli or Trossard. That's what I would like to see happen. Noni Madueke, if somebody said to me you can have him on a free transfer because Chelsea are giving him away, I'm not going to cry about it if we have him. I don't think he's good enough. I'm not going to cry about it. But going for 50 million or anywhere near that is just scarily bad business. So I'll say this lastly, I'm sick and tired of the obsession of having 6 of the last 7 seasons buying a Chelsea player. Let's just leave them to... I mean, we've actually done it already with Kepa again, right? So we've done it again already. Let's leave Chelsea players... Do
you rate the
it's signing? A mess signing for me. I've got to be honest, it's a mess signing. Yeah, he's back up. He hardly played. Cool, no problem. I'm not losing my head about it. I'm not going massive about it. I'm getting... a lot of people telling me that we're doing good business. I just wanted quality players. I don't care about good business. I don't care about accountancy. I don't care about players, money we've saved. I don't care that we've saved 28 grand a week. Now Party's gone. It doesn't bother me. Is the squad good enough? And if Kepa comes in to say, is he better than Neto? Well, he is. Clearly he's better than Neto, right?
Yeah.
But that was one game of last season. So I don't think we're going to see much of Kepa. So it doesn't really bother me too much. Like, I'm not losing my head about the Norgard thing. We're hardly going to see him. If we do, it'll be a couple of games. Let's not lose our head about those sort of signings. If you went to me and said that Ollie Watkins is going to be our number one striker, I might have a bit more of a meltdown than I would Kepa being our backup goalkeeper, is my point.
Sure. Okay, interesting. Let's get the next caller in. Actually, we can start to talk about that striker stuff, I think. Hey, mate, what's your name?
My name is James. It's a good name you got. It's a good name.
It's a great name. Is your middle name Dan by any chance?
It's not. It's not.
Oh,
Get him off, James. Get him off. No, I'm joking.
Listen, mate, James, great name. I forgot it for a second there. So there's a slight delay on your audio. If it fixes itself, then great. But as there's a slight delay, it's quite difficult for the back and forth. So just give me your thoughts on Eze and the striker situation. We'll move on to the next caller. But I'd love to know your thoughts on everything. And yeah, just lay it all out there. What are you thinking?
I don't think Eze is a competition to Odegaard in like the sense that you talk about. I don't think he's that. I think Eze is a very left-sided player. He's a very left-sided biased player. Odegaard, we know, is allergic to the left-hand side of the pitch. He just hugs the right. I think the reason that Arteta wants Eze isn't because it provides competition for Odegaard directly. I think it's because more it allows us to unlock the same sort of talents he has on the right, on the left, and to help Martinelli in that sense, because Martinelli needs help because Declan Rice and Lewis Skelly are basically the players who are providing Martinelli with the opportunities. And obviously he's squandering a lot of them, but he's not getting anywhere near as many as Saka is. And I understand that that's because he's not the same quality of player, but also we need to understand that on that left-hand side of the pitch, we do lack a significant amount of creativity. And I think Eze is going to fix that. I can also see Eze being deployed on the left wing. And my personal feeling is that it's very optimistic to imagine that Eze is going to come in alongside another left winger, i.e. Rodrigo. I don't think that's going to happen. And yeah, I'm a bit worried about the transfer window, not because of the class thing. Oh, we're taking too long. We're not doing this. We're not doing that. It's more that I don't think that the problems that we need to address are going to be addressed in the right way if we sign Eze. And don't get me wrong, Eze is an amazing player, but I would much rather I'll tell Odegaard, right, I know you love the right-hand side of the pitch, but try and use your abilities more. And then we get that quality world-class left winger, i.e. Rodrigo or, Nico Williams. Obviously, that's not going to happen now, but someone like that instead. And then we can see Odegaard be used more, because I genuinely believe he has world-class potential. But, yeah, not allowing him to flourish on the left-hand side of the pitch by bringing in Eze worries me a little bit, because I don't think we'll get the quality left winger that we need.
Mate, we're gonna have to say goodbye to you only because of the connection issues. But you made some really good points. We're gonna discuss it now. But James, thank you for calling, and do call back, and hopefully we'll be able to have more of a back and forth. But some class thoughts there. So thank you for joining us, mate.
Thank you.
It's such a shame when the connection's bad. It's really difficult to have the back and forth. But I thought you made a really great point there, Dan, which is I'm feeling excited about Eze, as are you, as are many people. I think he raises a great point. If we don't get the left winger, then have we actually signed the right type of player for the left wing that we need? Yes, he can cover for Odegaard. Yes, he's probably an upgrade on Martinelli and Trossard, but he's not a touchline winger who's going to take on fullback time and time and time again, like we've been asking Martinelli to do. He might have more guile and dribble or whatever. He wants to play on the inside. So I think that's a really good point he's made there.
It's a great point, and it's a question of, and it's not actually a question of Eze. It's not a question of Saka or Martinelli or Trossard or Havertz or any of our front three. It's a question of our captain. A lot of people say to me, what is Martin Odegaard? I don't actually think he's a 10. I actually think he's more of an attacking 8. I think he's the Bernardo Silva, not the KDB. I think he knit and grits a lot, and I think he works hard, but I think he wants to come a lot deeper than we need for number 10. So if you said to me now, what do you want to do? Maybe Eze can play in that 10 and Ødegaard's the 8. I mean, I know that's not going to happen. And I've said before that I'd like to have seen Ethan Nwaneri more in that 10 and Ødegaard drop deeper at times in that 8. And I think that trying to beat low blocks, I think Rice might have to move to that 6. And then we go with an Eze and Ødegaard potentially if he does come in, maybe. But look, there's a lot of potential for Eze to play in a number of positions. But the Ødegaard scenario is a very interesting one because if his performances do not pick up and they start to show the consistency in a bad way of last season, there's genuine talk about him being displaced from the team. Now, I don't think Arteta would do that, but there should be a conversation about it, James. So he needs to pick it up.
I think there should be pressure on every single player in the squad. It's why I love that Kivior ended the season brilliantly, because really Gabriel, off the back of surgery, shouldn't walk straight in. I mean, it depends if he plays any of pre-season or whatever, but Kivior did well. I like that Mosquera might come in and there's not pressure on Saliba, because Saliba and Gabriel will always be our first choices, but it's good that there's two others there. Same with every position on the pitch. Ødegaard, if he's not performing, needs to know that Eze and Nwaneri are knocking on that door. You know, every player. I mean, and I know that there are players that Saka will never lose his place, nor will Rice, nor will Ødegaard, nor will the centre backs. I appreciate that, but just for there to even be, even Raya, even the fact that there is legitimate pressure from a Premier League goalkeeper who was good last season for Bournemouth in Kepa, I think it's a good thing. So, yeah, I appreciate you can't have 22 Bukayo Sakas, but you can have players that you actually depend on to come in and put pressure on those who are starting. So, yeah, I'm a fan of that. Got a super chat. Dylan EDW says, big up James and Dan. Would you take Gyokeres or Sesko and then Calvert-Lewin on a free? He's a different profile and can do a job, proven as well. Look, we were linked with Calvert-Lewin 3-4 years ago when, actually he was scoring goals for Everton. I think at the time people would have been pretty encouraged by that signing for where we were and what he was doing in the league, whatever. Too injury prone. I don't think he's ever got to the level that we would want for this current Arsenal team either. And my big thing is, you've got Kai Havertz still. Kai Havertz is still a 6'4". I'm not saying he's the same at Calvert-Lewin. Calvert-Lewin's more of a battering ram, but I think we'll use Kai in that way a little bit still. So I just don't think there's any room. I think there's room for one striker to come in and be the guy. And then you've got Havertz, and then you've got Trossard who can play there, and then you've got Jesus returning at some point. For me, it's one striker, a top left winger, and a 10. That is where we need to add an attack. What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, I'm with you. Dominic Calvert-Lewin can go to Leeds or Burnley. I don't want him at Arsenal. For me, personally, it's not the right sort of signing Arsenal need to be taken, in my opinion. I would take Gyokeres over Sesko, 100%. I've never wanted Sesko. I don't believe he's the guy that's ready now to take us across the line. And although I think he could be, from what I hear, a very good striker in the next few years, I don't want to wait a few years, James. I need it now. And Gyokeres looks ready, and more ready than Sesko. And I'm with you. Yeah. I want an attacking midfielder, a left winger, and a striker, along with the positions that we look like we're getting in. So 5 or 6 players might not be enough, and it looks like we're linked with 7 or 8, which is good, promising from Andrea Berta and co.
Yeah, let's see. All right, next caller. Let's talk about Victor Gyokeres and Sesko a little bit. I'd like to get into all that. Hey, it's only Forder on football. How you doing, mate?
What's on, lads? How's it going?
Yeah, very good, mate. Very good. I think he's well. There we go. Well, yeah, we can. Slight delay. Look, well, I haven't got your take on all this all summer. I know we were talking on WhatsApp about a week or two ago, and I was saying, look, I've sort of taken a bit of a step away from getting too in the nuts and bolts of everything Arsenal because I've got 1 month to not stress about this club. But it's July now. It's time to start stressing a little bit. Where are you on Sesko Gyokeres? It's been a debate that's been raging for about 5-6 weeks now. It's quite frankly actually getting a bit boring. But I think we're reaching a conclusion in the next couple of weeks. I hope we are. Who do you want and what are your reasons?
I go back and forth on this all the time. Like the kind of,
me too.
I don't know, the more primal thing is getting Gyokeres, getting a goal scorer, someone that we can more or less bank on now. But I think the right profile is probably Sesko. And in terms of the amount of work that the club has left us with, we've done nothing last summer to address this. We did nothing in January. I think Sesko is probably the right deal. At the end of the day, as long as the club gets someone in alongside like a left winger, We've got so much work to do. I'll be happy. Either of them, it doesn't really bother me too much.
For the 25th time this summer, I'm going to say this. If Arteta is stubbornly not going to move from his principles and his way of playing, then I don't think he gets the best out of Gyokeres, in which case I think Sesko's the better fit. But if he's willing to tweak things to get the best out of the killer 9, then it's Gyokeres. Gyokeres is the better finisher, the better goal scorer, the more ruthless player. I think his mentality stands out to me a little bit more. Dan, do you know where I'm coming from with that? Like, for me, it rests a lot on what Mikel wants to do, because he always asks the same thing of his 9. And I'd like him to actually go, no, for once, we're going to build a team where the pockets are filled by Saka, Ødegaard, Eze, Martinelli, Rodrigo, Trossard, Rice, all those players. And our 9 is there to purely hug the box and score goals. When I look at the way Merino played up front, I actually think that could work for us. Merino wasn't brilliant hold-up play. He wasn't knitting everything together all the time. But he was like the best striker of football we've had since Aubameyang. I'm being deadly serious. I think he was more efficient with his shooting and his attempts on goal than almost anyone we've had up front since Aubameyang. I'm genuinely I think he was that efficient. What do you make of all that, Dan?
I think it's worrying when you say that Marino is the best behind Aubameyang in the last 3 years. That proves where the problem's been, right?
As a pure finisher,
I genuinely thought Marino did better for us up top than Kai Havertz did. I can't even lie. I genuinely did. I didn't look at it and think, wow, Kai Havertz is seriously missed here. I just didn't think that. And that proves to me that we really need a striker. And that's not me saying that Kai Havertz and Marino are terrible, by the way. They did a good job in the position that they've been asked to play, but they're not going to win the league. And we now need to look at who it is. And I look back to what you've just said there, James. They're doing everything. He's doing everything on the right. He's doing everything on the left. I just need someone to put it in the box. So I'll tell you what, let's take the guy who scored 100 goals in 2 seasons then. Let's not take the guy that scored 13 goals in the Bundesliga. If we do get Sesko and it doesn't work, Mikel, it's been a pleasure, but it's time to go. Because at least if you go for Gyokeres, you can say that makes sense. The Sesko one doesn't make sense because as much as I don't really understand what this profile or better fit means. Like I've tried to listen to tactical analysis and I'm not one of those. James, I know you're great at it. 40, you're probably better than me at it, right? I know that, Alex from Different Knock and all these guys are really good at that. Graham's fantastic at it. Clive Palmer's superb at it. I'm not great at it, if I'm honest with you. But I've tried to understand it, and I still don't quite understand what this guy's got that Gyokeres hasn't, other than he doesn't score as many goals. So I would rather take the guy that scores more goals. And I appreciate that it's a Bundesliga versus a Portugal League conversation. But if I'm honest with you, when I see Marmoush scoring more goals when he left in January, and I see Patrick Schick scoring more goals, why are we not wanting Patrick Schick? Because he's much better than Sesko in the Bundesliga, in a very good league. So I'm not really feeling the Sesko one, and that for me is just me. I could be absolutely wrong, James. He could come into Arsenal and get 40 goals, and we're going, who the hell is Haaland? But I don't think that's going to happen, right? So I think we've got more chance of Gyokeres getting us across the line because he's bagging and he's a gunman in the box. And people will say to me, well, he's done it in the Portugal League, but he didn't really do it elsewhere. He did it at Coventry in the Championship, which is English League, right? He's also done it in the Champions League. He did it in the Europa League, which no one spoke about last year. And he's doing it for his country now as well. So he's kind of passed and ticked every single box for me. So I think it would be an absolute no-brainer to go for Gyokeres, who is less money, who is ready now, and can get us across the line this season, not in 3 years like Sesko could.
Fair enough, mate. I don't completely see it that way, but I also see it that way. I see a lot of what you say, and the point that really sticks out to me, Forder, is why not just go for the guy who's ready now? Like, why not? Why not? Even if it means tweaking something, even if it means doing something different, why not go for the guy who wants that move now to deliver now? Because whatever I think of Sesko's potential, and I rate his potential very highly, does he come in and score the goals to win us the title today? I do have my concerns about, as much as I rate the talent, I do have my concerns about that.
I think maybe Arteta might look at it more as a complete package. So say if we did go and get a Rodrigo, the buy of Sesko might not mean as much. If you're only getting one striker, probably Gyokeres would be the kind of more marquee signing, if that makes sense. I also wonder, and people might shoot me down for this, I wonder if a Gyokeres signing puts far more pressure on Arteta. I like it just in terms of like, if he comes in, he has to be your number one. He has to hit the ground running. Where does that put Havertz? Does that mean Havertz then goes as this box crushing left 8 again? Does that mean that, you know, we end up having a player who's on what, 270 grand a week is he on, sitting on the bench? I don't know what kind of look that is for Arteta himself. Getting in Sesko, I think that gives you a little bit of time to then maneuver and work out exactly what you're going to do with the front line. Getting a player like Rodrigo, I think Sesko has proven that he's more facilitative than Gyokeres. Gyokeres is like that archetypal number 9 who's going to go for goal, who's going to turn and run at play, try to get in beyond. Whereas Sesko a lot of the time plays in a 2, really. So he is adept at different things. So I wonder if that is the reason. But as I say, I think, well, to be fair to Potsy, I'm going to say this. When I spoke to Dan in the summer, you called for Eze and you had said that's the person to get in. I think if we can get him in, and I know it's not to do with a striker per se, but he starts to plug a lot of gaps in profiles we don't have. We don't have players who can take a man on. We don't have players who can make good transition choices. When we're in transition, we are awful at holding the ball up, and he will change that. It's another player. People aren't realizing he's a dead ball specialist. He also shoots. I think he's a player that, although he's not like a full left wing touchline winger, in terms of what he can do, we just don't have anyone that does those things. And I wonder if you get him in and then you get, you know, someone else like a Sesko, suddenly you're looking at that front line going, well, maybe that one player isn't the right player, but alongside these other ones, we've got a complete attack, because we've got a lot of very good players, you know, but we're just missing something. And that's a lot of the time the ability to beat a man or the ability to just pull the trigger. So that's the way I can look at it. This summer is a big summer. They get all the right signings, not just one signing.
Yeah. Forder, mate, we're going to have to say goodbye, but everyone please go subscribe to Forder on Football, and of course you'll see him on all our channels as well, and here on AFTV. But mate, big thank you for joining us. Always a pleasure, man.
Big up, bro.
Good chatting to you guys.
Catch you in a bit. Oh, bless. Always good to chat to Forder. Let's get our next call. And everyone, we are in the last 15 minutes of the show, so we are going to be a little bit quicker. Apologies. And thank you to everyone who's been calling in. I've got Ryan of production in the background letting me know there's lots of callers waiting. So thank you all, because you guys are running this show. This is your chance to have your say. Sorry if I waffle on at times, but it is good to have you all here. Let's get the next caller and get everyone's thoughts on everything. Hey, man, how you doing?
Guys, how you doing?
Yeah, very, very good. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Danny from Boston.
Fantastic, man. Boston. I went to Boston when I was 3. So I can't pretend I remember it that well, but I have been. I'm sure Arsenal will go there at some point because they like to tour the US. Listen, mate, a couple of minutes. The floor is yours. What are you making of Arsenal's window so far? Eze linked. Mosquera supposedly looking quite close. A goalkeeper in. Zubimendi, Norgard, and then the forwards pursuit. How are you feeling?
Honestly, like for Eze, I love that signing, because we are at that point where we should go for the best players. We go to a team and we say, this is your best player, we're taking him. That's how I feel about that thing. I don't want to go for somebody like Chelsea for Noni Madueke. Like they're trying to get rid of him and then we want to take him. I don't want that. It's been almost 21 years since we won something. We just want to win. And even with Gyokeres, I've been watching him. That guy, you can see the passion in his face. He wants to win. He's at that point where he wants to win. So that's what we go for, not a project. I just want us to win. It's been so long. I know in the US, some people are different, but I was originally born in Ghana. I've been an Arsenal fan since I was like, 9? And I'm 33 now. It's a long time. I get emotional. It's like up and down. I see everything every day, every week, and we're spending money. Even this this year I'm trying to like kind of get tickets and come to London, come watch some games. But we just want to win. All we're asking for is to win something and not just buy any other player. We go to a team, get their best player. That's what we want. I know the Cronkies over here, they're not winners. Everything they've won over here, it just fell into their lap. They've never wanted to win. They just sit there cashing the money. But this time, whatever funds we get, I just hope they get the best players, because look around us. Everybody's doing something, but we're just sitting there signing senior citizens. And that's not what we need to do. That's just my thing. Like, I want to, yeah.
Yeah, no, I hear you. There's immense pressure to win now, and I think we sometimes think it's just the fans, but trust me, Arteta's feeling it. The players are feeling it. Saka, Saliba, these guys who haven't put pen to paper on a contract yet. I wouldn't be surprised if they're waiting to see how this window goes before they sign that piece of paper.
They want to see what's going on. These are our players. They all want to win. Like, if we don't get, like, I'm sure none of them is waiting for Sesko. They want to win. You see Saliba, he wants to win. Or Madrid is like around the corner. Right now, Konate don't want to sign. They're trying to put them French players together in Madrid. So we need to win to keep these players together. If not, we're just going to start from the bottom again. That's just that recycle. We don't want it.
Yeah, mate. Thank you, and some passionate words there. Appreciate it a lot. Please call again. Hopefully, we can have a bit more of a back and forth. Right. But thank you for calling, man, and thank you for sharing your thoughts.
All right. Oh,
absolute pleasure. Yeah, and Dan, he speaks for a lot of the fan base there. I think he speaks for a lot of the players.
Facts. That's probably one of my favourite calls so far. I think, he's passionate about winning. We all want to win, and we believe that the Cronkies lack some ambition. Go show us you want to win in this transfer window. Simple as that.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Let's take our next caller. I'm sure echoing many of those thoughts. Hey, man, how you doing? What's your name?
What's happening, guys? I'm Mark.
Lovely to meet you, Mark. How you doing? Okay, Sesko, Gyokeres, let's have it. Where are you? Where are you in the debate? And do you agree with that last caller that get the people to win now, who have the mentality to win now? Because we don't have time to waste.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. I think Gyokeres, I prefer much more than Sesko. I think he's ready now to take the step up and actually win something. And I think Sesko is more facilitating the attack and trying to make the attack flow. I don't think he's clinical enough to lead us to where we need to go. I think if you look at what Liverpool's doing, look what City's doing, I think we need to be on that sort of level in terms of our spending and also in terms of like the personnel that we bring in. So if it's Sesko versus Gyokeres, I'm Gyokeres 100%. But I do like the other acquisitions. I like Eze, I like Mosquera. I think Mosquera is quite important as well. So I feel like Saliba doesn't have a lot of cover in that position, even though we have players that can play that centre-back right side. They're either in they're right-backs really by trade, and you want them to come in as a centre-back, or it stops like the flow in terms of like having two right-backs available. You don't have that option anymore because you got one that's going to cover a centre-back. So I like Mosquera signing as well, and I think it's as important.
Yeah, I think you're right to mention Mosquera. Dan, just super quickly, your thoughts on Mosquera, because we haven't really talked about that.
I actually like it. I'll tell you why I like it very quickly, because I think Andrea Berto's behind it. I think it's a position we need to cover for. Saliba, for me, we can't be dealing with Saliba much longer. He's going to get crocked. He's the next one I'm worried about. If I'm honest, he's playing way too many games. I think right-sided centre-back is something that we're lacking. If he can play there, I know actually he's played there less than he has left than obviously right-back, but I do think he's a player that can cover there. And I like the fact that he's young and he's willing to come and learn off of Gabriel and Saliba and compete for the place. So I actually like this signing, James. And I know people were like, what, another defender? I'm cool with it.
I agree with you. I'm totally cool with it. You're right. He's played more left centre back, but he's right footed. I was talking to Ben Mattinson, who does, obviously posts some great stuff on players, and he's been talking about him for a little while. Says he's very comparable to Gabriel in the way he plays the game from when we first signed Gabby. So let's see. Final thought, Eze, you encouraged by the Eze links, Mark?
Yeah, I am encouraged by it. I do think we need a left wing cover, so I don't think Eze should be seen as the left winger. I think he should be seen as the 10 that can do a job on the left as well. I do like the fact that he's nimble with his feet and he can dribble and whatever, but we do need a proper left winger. So I think he should cover Odegaard and we get a proper left winger in. I'm not against, if we can't get the Rodrigo deal, I'm not against the likes of Ademola Lookman. I do think if we get an Ademola Lookman with a Gyokeres up front with Saka, I do think we can win the league with that, and providing we get all the other signings. So I'm not against. Let's see how it falls with the Rodrigo thing, but I'm not against looking for an alternative option if Rodrigo's not available. I do think there's people that we can have in that left wing position.
Completely fair, mate. Great call. Thanks so much, Mark. I really appreciate you joining.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Right, 2 more calls to go. Let's get people's thoughts, and we'll stick on Mosquera a little bit because it is an interesting. It kind of came out of nowhere. We thought it was going to be Joel Hato if Kivior leaves, but I think Arsenal are right to address this. Let's get our next caller and discuss in a little bit more detail. Hey, how you doing, man? Been a long time.
Well. Dan and James and Dan. Gentlemen, long time no chat. Been avoiding me. Time. I understand that. I am a very taciturn personality. I get it. But always good to see you guys as well. In these new surroundings, these new confines. I love what you've done with the place.
Thank you so much. Well, listen, we couldn't avoid you forever. I'm joking. I've missed you, man. I missed you. Look,
big up, Elliot.
I know.
Big up, Elliot. It's all love, bro. It's all love, bro.
It's always love, Elliot. Look, Elliot, do you know what? I have no idea what you make of all these things. I'm trying to think. What have Elliot and I debated over the years? And actually, I have no idea where you land on Sesko, on Gyokeres, on Rodrigo, on Zubimendi, but Partey leaving. So go on. I'm going to sit back. You just give me just a quick summary of all your thoughts. Right. We've got one more caller, so keep it somewhat brief. But I want to hear, what do you make of it all?
You know what, guys? I'm actually happy. I'm in a good mood. We're actually controlling the transfer market. When have you heard of Arsenal Football Club controlling the transfer market, controlling the levers of power? Never in our era. And it's actually happening now. I don't think it's happened since the Wenger Dean days. How we've been in control. And we are in control, ladies and gentlemen. Sesko and Gyokeres is our deal to make. Rodrigo looks like it's laying in our hands. Eze wants to join. We have Mosquera who says, I don't want anyone else. I want Arsenal. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, you have to realize that we are in a good place right now. Now, it's up to Arteta to operate in the proper fashion and get us the trophies that we so covet and desire. But other than that, guys, our biggest acquisition this year is bringing in Andrea Berta. This guy is working a blinder right now and has brought us to the level that we should be in. It's not as if we're out of place here. We should be here. But Edu was operating blind, quite simply, trying to fry up barbecues at every occasion. But we've got a guy who's on the ball, who's on the game. And credit to Andrea Berta, he is working us to a frenetic level that we haven't seen in years. And you know what? All the power to him. All the power to Arsenal at the moment, because we're signing players, we're bringing people in, we're doing the necessary things. I love the Norgard deal. I love the Mosquera deal. I love the Kepa deal. And Zubimendi, let's face facts. Real Madrid tried to steal it from us, but there's no remontada there, is there? So let's put everything in perspective here. Yes, he's got to work a month to work his magic, but I'm loving the tricks we've seen thus far. No Diddy. Actually, you can't say Diddy.
Elliot,
he's you heard the news today.
Do you know what? The delay and the connection has caused all sorts of problems hearing that, and I'm quite glad it did. So let's just, Elliot, we're gonna say, love you lot. Pleasure to have you, mate. And yeah, some real optimism there from you. Let's hope it carries on, and let's hope we're all feeling that optimistic at the end of the window. But mate, thank you for calling as always, and please call back next week. We'll have a longer chat as well.
Big up, Elliot.
We will. Thank you, gentlemen. Dan, always great to chat to you. Always great to talk to you. We'll see you on your stream. Dan. James, I'll see you on your stream as well. Hope you get some call-ins there too. So, hey,
absolutely.
Up the Arsenal, gentlemen.
Love, man.
Bro.
Dan, I tell you what, honestly, I had connection issues, and then at one point when it kind of resynced, I thought, okay, not the worst thing. Bless his heart. He's proper.
You always got that Elliot, man. He's a great guy. Great guy.
Proper great guy. Right, we've got room for one more caller, and I want some ratings on the window so far. Let's bring him in. Hey, it's Javi. How you doing, man?
Doing good, guys. Might get fired here at work, but AFTV always comes first.
Yes. Love that, bro.
It's been a while, man. We've chatted a little bit on WhatsApp, but look, again, I'm going to ask you the same thing I asked Elliot. I don't know how you're going to feel in comparison to Elliot, but Zubimendi in, Norgard in, Partey and Jorginho have gone. Eze links, Rodrigo we're going to be patient with, it seems. Sesko v Gyokeres. Now, I know you watch a lot of football outside the Premier League. I know you do. We've talked about things like, the old Barcelona sides or whatever. I know you keep up to date with all that. I'm really, really interested in where your thoughts are with our window so far and all these linked players.
Zubimendi, in my opinion, even with the whole Florian Wirtz thing, I still think so far it's been probably the signing, to date. I think Reinders is being closely behind. I generally believe, gentlemen, that with that player we have, after Rodri, especially with him coming back of an injury, probably the best holding midfielder in Europe right now. And I genuinely believe that.
Wow.
I think Zubimendi is that good and will be that good. I don't know how people saw the Nations League because, it's a glorified friendly, but I think the world of football for the first time really was able to actually see him play at a high level. And you saw it was a very technically gifted player. I think he will genuinely make us better. But truth be told, we handled that in January. And since then, it's been mostly, links and taking care of squad players with the likes of Norgard replacing Partey and Kepa. Apart from that, we're going to have to see exactly what movements we make. Some links are exciting. Some I don't really care too much about because I think regardless, they're all addressing kind of like the depth that we really have needed to address for years now in the winger positions. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, you're alluding to things like Mascara, Norgard, Kepa. They do a job, they're necessary. But I want to know, man, Sesko, Gyokeres, where are you? Who do you want?
I'm not going to pretend like I watch the Portuguese league, So I don't know too much about Gyokeres. He seems to have the better goal scoring record, but he's also 27 years of age, right? So there's a part of me that thinks, okay, paying big money for a striker in their prime, and so for whatever reason they find their prime to be in the Portuguese league, it leaves some doubts for me. But listen, the club has identified two profiles of players. Get the one that I think fits in the system like the best. I don't think that Arsenal needs a super big clinical finisher that turns half chances into goals, that is scoring volleys. I don't think we need that. I just think we need somebody that just puts away clear-cut chances. We've never been the team that has lacked in its ability to create goal-scoring opportunities. We miss sitters, Just give me the guy that is going to be able to hold that play and actually link well with the rest of the team so that we don't lose that creativity. But when he's given a tap and he scores it, and when he's given a goal opportunity, he scores it. And when he's one-on-one, he finishes it. Just put away the chances that should be in the back of the net. I think as long as we have that profile of striker, we'll be fine. Whether it's Gyokeres or Sesko, I'll leave that up to the club. We need that's the most important thing. I'm not going to pretend like I've both of them and I can tell you their strengths and their weaknesses. That's not my job. On the age aspect of things and value, I think Sesko is the better player for value and age and all of those things, But if Gyokeres is the man and he's ready and they genuinely believe that he can fit in very nicely, then let's just get it done. And given the fact that he's sort of put his heels in the sand over there, we might actually be able to get him for a cut price because he seems to be very determined to leave. So always for taking advantage of market opportunity as well.
And he seems very determined for Arsenal, which is a part of it. I mean, Dan, we basically just want this saga done now, don't we? Like, as much as we have our preferences and we've all debated it, my word, can we just pick the guy so we can all get on with it and give Arteta what he wants, and now we can really see what we're all about in pre-season?
Yeah, it's been frustrating, if I'm honest. And I'm all for simultaneously going after a number of options. I always believe you should have a top priority target and then plan A, plan B, plan C. But this has really dragged on. And I don't think it's very transparent as to who we actually do want. I think there's a lot of people believe it's Sesko. Some today would suggest it's Gyokeres. I think everybody probably wants Isak over both of them because that's the dream signing. You know what? The way this saga is playing out, it wouldn't surprise me if we ended up with someone else, James. That's how crazy it is, man. It really is.
Yeah, something's just coming from David Ornstein from the Athletic podcast where he said, sorry for the traffic. You can probably hear the traffic in the background. Apologies for that. David Ornstein said, Arsenal always wanted to strengthen on the left wing, but they've got Gabriel Martinelli there. If he was to leave, then you could see them bringing in a top left-sided winger. If he's not to leave, I don't think so. Now that supports what Abdullah sent in a super chat. We ain't getting Eze and a top left winger. If Eze joins, we're keeping Martinelli and Trossard, and we'll get a striker, probably Gyokeres. I want Sesko, though. I want us to at least try for Rodrigo before bidding for Eze. Now, if you put all that together, it sounds like Eze can play on the left, is an upgrade for there if we need him, but someone coming in depends on Martinelli going. He also said, Ornstein, we report on the likes of Rodrigo and Anthony Gordon. I think that's if Martinelli leaves. I don't necessarily think that's if he was to stay. Now, to be fair, that's all opinion, but he's giving the opinion of something. Quickly, Javi, Rodrigo, do you think he's a game changer for us if we can get him?
I don't think he's a game changer. Like, I think he's a great player. I think he's better than Martinelli, but I don't think he's 70 million pounds better than Martinelli is. I mean, I'll put it like this. If Martinelli played in Liverpool's system or he played in the PSG system, would you see a better Martinelli if he's cutting into his right foot and taking on players and be able to run in behind? Do you see a better player?
Yeah, I do think part of Martinelli's lack of growth in the last 2 years has been the way Arteta's used him, if I'm honest. Yeah.
100%. You're having him hug the touchline, where he's constantly, having to cut onto his left foot, and then, he's a terrible crosser of the ball when he cuts onto his left foot. That's the first thing, right? But when Martinelli was at his best, he was playing with Jesus, who was constantly sort of like swapping positions with him. So it was a much more fluid. He had Zinchenko in attack as well, that was either inverting or overlapping, allowing him greater mobility. But then since then, it's been just, a very stagnant, target player where he's like sort of been obliged to stay on the left. We haven't really had a really good dynamic attacking midfielder on that left 8 side that can combine with him. Our left backs have been more center backs who aren't really like converting. So he's often left isolated. And it's just like, guys, Bukayo Saka has had Martin Odegaard and Ben White and Timber on that right-hand side combining and interlinking with him and, combining the play. I think Saka, of course, is the better player, but he's had a stable relationship to build off for the last 2-3 years. Martinelli, how many different striker, midfield, and left back, relationships has he seen on that left-hand side over the last 2-3 years? It's different every time. He went from Jesus, Guzanka, and Zinchenko to Kai Havertz. God, I don't even know. Like
Bryce, Marino, Lewis Kelly, Calafiori, Kivior. Yeah.
And it's just like, let's not complicate things. He's a good player. He's I think he's actually a fantastic finisher. We know he can take a player on, and he's got pace. Just let the guy cut inside, let him play in behind, keep things simple, let the guy click and let him do his thing. Stop making him hug the corner flag, and like playing like Jack Grealish, that's not his game. Just let the guy play to his strengths. If Luis Enrique had him, he would not be playing him that way. He would have that guy cutting inside, and I think we'd see a much better player if we got that. And even if Rodrigo is better, I don't think he's 70 million pounds better than Martinelli.
Interesting take. Not heard that before. But I agree with the point of if you gave him to another manager that allowed more freedom to the front three, you'd see a different player. I do believe that. I don't think what we saw in 22-23, I thought he was going bar for bar with Bukayo Saka, and now 2 years on, like he's miles off him. Saka's the better player, but I think there's still more in Martinelli. Just whether he's right for Arteta, I don't know. But let's see. Javi, it's so good to chat to you again, man. We won't leave it so long, and these calls are going on every Wednesday, but we might mix up the times so we can get different time zones and stuff like that. But mate, great to hear from you again.
Likewise, guys. And one last thing, maybe perhaps, the striker profile that we should go for is maybe the more mobile striker that can, allow that interchange of play with Martinelli. So that way we're bringing the best of everybody around them as well, and not just the one position. So maybe that's something to look out for as well. Which one of those two guys is a bit more mobile?
Absolutely. Javi, thank you so much, man. We'll speak soon.
It's good chatting up with you guys. Take care.
Catch you in a bit. Dan, some great callers, man. And you know what? Whether I agree or disagree, they do make me think about it in a different way.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Look, what I love about these kind of shows or any form of debate show is that you get difference of opinions, and although you might not disagree or agree with everything that's said, you actually do see it from different people's perspectives, which is why, I like people who tell me that Sesko is better than Gyokeres, because I disagree with that. So tell me why you think he's better. I don't think that Norgard is a huge upgrade on what we had, but tell me why you think that signing is exceptional. Why is Kepa good business? Because these are all things that I don't necessarily agree with so far. I've not been particularly a fan of what we've done in the transfer market so far. I'm not saying it's over because we've got a long way to go. But, if you was to say to me, rate it, I'd find it very, very difficult, mate, because we haven't done anything. We've signed Kepa on, for 5 million. That is all we've done. Now, I know we've got other links and it looks like things are happening soon, but nothing's been across the line. So I think it's impossible to rate the transfer window so far because nothing's happened. Unless you want to give it a 0 or a 1. There's nothing much more we can say that we've done. So, we've got rid of Partey. We haven't sold anybody else. We haven't brought anybody in other than Kepa at 5 million. Nobody can give this like a 7 or an 8 out of 10 window so far. You'd just be buzzing, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
What I'm saying?
Ultimately, we're trusting that some things will be announced, that some of these rumours actually move ahead. My theory is, to sum it up one more time, Kepa, Mascara, Norgard, Zubimendi, maybe Eze, and maybe a striker will be in within the next month. I think they will before the season starts. And then I think Rodrigo... then I think Rodrigo will drag. And if we're going to do it, I think Arsenal will put themselves in a position where they're ready to do it. But I think it's going to drag on. I don't think it's something that is going to be resolved anytime soon. So it's the 2nd of July. I honestly think we can wait another 2 months to the very end of August to know what's going on with Rodrigo. I hope that if he becomes available, we're there to do it. That's all I ask. If you do everything else, but you wait till the very end to do Rodrigo, I've got no problem with that because I think he's that good. But let's wait and see. Dan, mate, it's an absolute pleasure to share the show with you. So thank you so much for joining. Everyone go subscribe to Football's 12th Man. Have you enjoyed it, mate?
Lovely, man. Look, you know what? It's actually a really good show. I actually enjoyed this show out of all of the ones we do because I just feel like it gives everybody a platform and everyone a voice to some of the fans that perhaps we don't speak to on a regular basis. And I think that's important because we've got to remember that's what AFTV is about, right? It's giving fans a voice. So I think that's exactly what this show should be about. And I think that, it's a really important show. And I think there's been some great callers and I think some great points. And it's been a pleasure, bro. Thanks for having me, man.
No, thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it. Thanks to everyone who's joined us via the comments, who've just tuned in viewing, and some super chats too, and especially all the callers who make it what it is. Of course, we are live 7:30 every Wednesday. Like I said, we might alternate times. I know I'm not here next week, so someone else will be hosting. But we might look to alternate times as well, just so we can get different people at different times as well of the day. But I remember Suj called in last week, and I think it was some stupid o'clock in the morning for him, bless him. But Dan, a big thanks to you again. And everyone, I'm off to have dinner, and I'm sure some news will break in the next few hours, because that's just so typical. But if it does, we will be here to cover it on Football's 12th Man, on AFTV, the Gooniverse, and everything. So big thank you for joining us, and we'll see you very soon.